Few days ago, I was touching grass, and I got a blister on my right thumb, which made it a little difficult to play Sonic Adventure 2. And I thought to myself, why not capitalize off it? I could not afford to not play Sonic Adventure 2, so what did I do? I weaponized it into a challenge, because today, we are going to be playing all of Shadow stages and trying to get the A-Ring with only my left hand. Now, I am aware that without face cam or anything like that, it's very hard for you guys as the audience to verify whether I'm telling the truth about this or not, so, I got this for you, if this is believable. The only proof I have to back this up is trust me, bro, really, but, hopefully I've earned enough trust for you guys to believe this is authentic and I'm not lying through my teeth. So, let's get on with Radical Highway. As a right-handed man who's not ambidextrous and even hates their left hand, I'll admit that I started this off pretty okay. While it was a little bit difficult to travel completely straight given the fact that I'm piloting my analog stick with my own pinky finger, which isn't very promising in its own right, this was okay. Using only two fingers to use a controller might sound pretty scary, but honestly, if you know your digits, I guess you could call it, it actually ends up being pretty alright for the most part. I was using my index finger to rely on the A and X buttons, so I was able to spin dash, ring dash, and jump whenever I needed to. Homing attacks didn't prove all too challenging for me, because as long as my pinky finger was behaving, we were good. Over a minute in, and I was feeling pretty confident. While it was a little bit weird to move in tandem with the camera, because again, I don't really have control over that, I was still able to do my homing attacks and stuff together pretty well, so I suppose that wasn't so bad. At this point in the stage though, unfortunately I do decide to reset. It's because I started frolicking about the fact that I couldn't really show proof, but judging by how the other stages might go, I have a feeling you guys will believe me. So back at the start, and I actually opened kinda sloppy there. I missed most of the rings in that first row, but that's okay. My timing of the stage is still really sharp. I can still spin dash as long as I'm fast about it, so we continue on with a pretty strong foot. Unfortunately though, I mistimed Blue Eagle, so we're not able to secure those points, but honestly, not too worried about that. It's only one enemy, so I'm not worried about the A-Rank yet. Coming back to where we were last time, I'm not able to do the trick off the ramp. Maybe it's because the timing felt funny to me on my index finger, but I just wasn't clicking with it, so that didn't work out. Yet I was still able to grind off the rail and chain two homing attacks to it, so figure that one. As we enter the infamous bridge section, I gotta be honest, I was pretty nervous at this part, but miraculously enough, I actually timed the trick right, so we were able to take the top route, which is pretty exciting. So the platforming here, I'd take a little longer than I would have liked, but I'm feeling ambitious. And I see the spark beetle go off, and I go for the homing attack, and then I homing attack the rail, go for the gun hunter, and then I hit the golden beetle, all with my stupid ass left hand. The trick ramp here is a little clunky as it is, so hitting it under this condition made me very happy. I love this part of the level because I'm able to perform this trick off. Even with just my index and pinky finger, I still managed to do all of that, and I am just glowing. But I do something that nearly costs the whole thing. The entire run was very close to extinguishing. Right about there. Boom. I don't know how I survived. I don't know why I survived, but hey, it happened. And we can complete the level now, so that's good. 2 attempts in. Did I secure the A rank? That is the question. Shocker. Radical Highway did most of the work for me last round. White Jungle requires me to be a little bit more intuitive, so here's to hoping that this pans out just as well. I have a strong start, of course, because all I have to do is sit still and hold down the X button, so I'm able to get my top speed very quickly. I'm even able to take out some of the enemies here without much issue, so that's a big plus. Now here, I kind of struggle a little bit. I just cannot aim accurately for my life, but we move on from here, and we're good to go. A lot of this is automated so far, so I don't have to worry too bad about the running sections. The enemies here are pretty few and far between as well, so those can be promptly dealt with. Although as we approach this section, things begin to kind of lose its edge a bit. With enemies attacking me like so, I'm trying to avoid their weapons, but I'm also trying to string a homing attack together, which doesn't pan out as well as I wished it did. But I tried to spin dash and ring dash, but unfortunately I missed the extra life, so it kind of proved a bit of a waste of time. I try to move on, but then I get knocked into the water, and this is our first official death. Now, despite the setback, you'd think the reasonable thing to do would be to reset, right? I mean, I'm not good enough with my left hand in order to get the A rank, but for some reason, I press on. Maybe my ego is at stake, and that's what this is about, but let's just let the run play out. Like before, I'm able to make quick work of the Rhino spike, so that's not a problem. This part right here, I just decide to forfeit any homing attack or go straight for the bomb capsule, and then I perform a successful ring dash and claim my extra life. Is it arguably better than before? I don't know. But at least this time I don't die at this section, so that's a massive plus. I even decide to, for some reason, take the risky route, and I go for it, and it actually pays off. I'm very pleased with this run so far, despite the setback. Now in this section, things are a little bit tighter, and working with the weird camera makes this a little harder than it needs to be, but I prevail. I missed the first homing attack, but I prevail. Out of desperation, I go for invincibility. Now for those who don't know, if you destroy any enemies while in the invincible state, you will get twice the amount of score from it. It doesn't apply to rings or capsules or anything else, but it does work with enemies. So if you're struggling to get an A rank, but you come across one of these, take advantage of it. It'll serve you well. I was really scared of this section because I ran into the magnetic shield problem, but no, I cleared it instantly. My timing was good, my accuracy was good, it was shockingly successful. There was a gold beetle here, which I was able to nab pretty easily, and what came next was a rhino spike, which also fell apart quite easily. Now, the wing beetle I did miss, but I was able to get the second one, so that's something. Those capsules I was going to go back for, but I decided it was too much of a waste of time. I had to get the stage done because time bonus was meant to be my friend. Now, I missed those enemies by complete accident, and I was like, damn it. I was sure I was going to get a B rank. Very certain. There was no possible way I could... Okay, I'll shut up. I'll stop talking. Lord have mercy on my tortured soul. Going into this level, I didn't care how well I did with the last two levels. I knew the rails would trip me up bad. And it doesn't help that most of this level is clunky as all hell anyway, so I was under a really big difficulty spike. Of course, to get that A rank I so desperately want, I can't take the safe way. I have to continue to be ambitious, but I suck at that with my left hand, so that didn't happen. Of course, I try to go for the rail switch, but I'm just delayed, I'm slow, and I fall to my death. That's our second death, officially. I don't crouch on the rails as much here, so I slow down a little bit, making this part much easier, and I'm even able to nab the 800. But the problem is, all my points are gone. Luckily, at this point in Skyrail, it's not really hard to come back from this, but yeah. I continue to be a little bit desperate, so I actually go for the Chow section of this level to make up some extra points. Between the enemies and the extra lives, I figured I could nab at least 500 in this section, which would be enough to make up about half of what I lost by dying. I do overshoot the jump a little bit when returning to the main route, but that doesn't serve as much of a problem. This part of the level, though, is very scary, but luckily I'm precise enough with my left hand that I make it work. Somehow, anyway. Now, here I guess I have a second guess at something. I don't really know why I hesitated to go through with the route. Maybe I deemed it too difficult, but then this happens. I love Sonic Adventure 2. The first death you can come back from. The second one, no way in hell. So it's time to restart the stage. So this part I struggled with the first time, and I was hoping coming back to this I'd do a better job. Turns out I did even worse, and if you want to see something truly embarrassing, I can't even walk on a platform correctly. Oh, I could just feel the anger. That constant need for ambition, however, completely consumes me, and I try a third time. Guess what? I did it right? Incredible, huh? Except then I do that. Why would you do that? Once again, I deem the run savable and continue from where I died, which I do end up getting the 800 points, but damn was that close. I even do the same strategies as before, where I rely on most of the Chow area in order to gain what I lost, but these stupid hawks just pissed me off. Coming back here, I felt very nervous, but I tried to do a bit of a different route, which was arguably even more dangerous. Yeah, not exactly helping my cause here, am I? However, I actually survived this jump. I'm assuming that perhaps the faces of Skyrail and Pumpkin Hill were looking out for me there, but who knows. The hawk here makes this place quite scary, because Shadow's actually very prone to being shot and falling off the map here, so I'm very glad I was able to escape without any troubles. Now, I don't know why I'm taking risks here, because looking at this in retrospect, I was feeling very ballsy by the looks of it. I was even able to pull off the cool trick, and with that, I felt confident in this run. Not confident I'd get the A rank, but confident I'd at least get it done here. Of course, I'm racing for that A rank anyway. I don't want to not get an A. However, my lack of skill, the game was nice to me anyways. In my head, I had deduced that I did well in the first 2 stages, and the third one I lucked out on. Final chase, I had little confidence going into, because I figured the rail grinding would eat me alive here. My heart rate was peaking the entire way throughout this level, especially as I got closer to the end. At least now I could afford a failure and I wouldn't have wasted 5 minutes of my precious life, but yeah, this heart rate only gets worse from here. And these gravitational cylinders were not making me feel good about myself either. If I wanted the A rank, I know they were a necessary evil to endure, but holy shit, the amount of fear I felt on each and every one of these things. Clearly, I'm hungry for that A rank because I go for the faraway horn at 9. I don't do that during regular play. I don't know what the hell gave me the idea I could do that with my left hand, but it was successful for some reason. I don't know what benevolent force was looking out for Shadow. Well, probably Maria, but like, yeah. The gold beetle makes me a little nervous to approach this, but I'm able to take that weight off my chest as I have successfully destroyed it. Great. After the first station tunnel, I guess we'll call it, there's these pillars you have to ascend. Now, I'm not exactly the most confident with these at the best of times, so doing this right now, I can tell you, I was sweating, I was shaking, I was very scared to screw it all up right here, because I had a feeling that something, for whatever arbitrary reason, would fall to pieces. Especially here, because of the vast distances of the homing attack. The heights were a little too great for me. I was not feeling good about this at all, but the immense relief I got when I was finally able to make it to the top pillar and do a little bit more platforming, and then I was home free. It was very satisfying, and it cut my heart rate in half. Thank God for that. This next section is where I was wigging out, because of these rotating pillars. I don't want to touch the pillars. I don't want to touch them with a 50-foot stick. If I can skip them, I will. And luckily here, that works exactly as planned, because my parkouring skills, despite the fear, despite the difficulty, it all works out. So, I'm able to get a bit of a breather here for a second, because the rail's going to be what does most of the work in this part. And then after all I have to do is travel in a straight line without touching an electrified barrier. So, as long as I can manage that, we are A-okay. And, really, no troubles here. I'm not on the cylinder long enough for it to be a problem, but what is a problem is my coordination, because I almost threw it all to waste right there, just hanging over the edge like that. Why do I do this to myself? Going back into the second station tunnel? Again, I don't know if that's the name, but it sounds right, I guess. This is where I am quaking in my boots. If there's one part of the level of Final Chase where I really struggled, it was right here for some reason. This part gives me PTSD under normal circumstances, and now I'm doing it with my left hand, and I'm afraid, and I'm gonna homing attack that spring or something. No! It goes all smoothly. It's all in my head. Also, this float type's a piece of shit. This is the home stretch. I have not died yet. Very shockingly, I thought I'd really struggle with the stage. I have a good amount of points, sitting at exactly 10,000. My time is fairly alright, considering the length of Final Chase. This is the make or break moment. Now, I'm scared shitless for this bottom section, because if I mistime this, I'm done for. But I don't. By some chance, I don't, and I grab the gold ring, and I'm telling myself, I swear you need to get the A ring. And I do. I do. Whew. Now it's just time to retrieve my right hand. Oh, you're a bitch.